Welcome to day 3 of Creating Cultural Legacy. Today, you are in for a treat. You will discover how you can leave a legacy for your children's children. Now, as a recap, day 1, we talked all about what is creating cultural legacy. What does it mean to create? Well, in the beginning, God created heaven and earth and man, and he gave man and woman dominion, right? And he allowed us to co-create. So we get to create our own cultural legacy. And what is culture? Culture is a mixture of your heritage, including those values, those stories that are told that get passed down from generation to generation. Now we get to unpack legacy. And within those first 2 days, we talked about some key principles about how we get the opportunity and to own real estate. We get the opportunity to own real estate. Even though we use the word own, we get the opportunity, right? We get to steward what's in our hands. So I'm excited about sharing what's today. But before we do that, I've asked a lot of you to go live, and you have. I asked many of you to share, and you have. I asked you to invite, and you have. And now I get to provide some bonuses. Before I do that, I want to bring my friend Nadia on so she can share just what she's been seeing. She's watched this Facebook group and she's been moderating some of the language that's been going on, and she has seen some standout. And for the standout, I have a special prize for today. So can you explain a little bit about that?
Hello, my friends. Nadezhda Kvarasyan is here, and I'm so glad you made it. This today is day 3, and everybody can start the challenge and be the watch the challenge, but not everyone is getting to the finish line. So I'm so glad that you are today here, and you are on the day 3 on the finish line, and you are here to learn how to live legacy to your children's children's, which Katie is a specialist in this, and she's sharing her heart and knowledge and expertise in this real estate world, for being in this world since 2012. And she's only the person that you can learn, and you see how she's putting her heart into all of this challenge, because she knows a lot how to do and what to do, which step to take first, which next, because I don't have any clue. But this is all about, we are learning from specialists, and Katie is specialist in that. Just want to tell you that we watched who was already participate in the group, and we have one who she's already twice when live, and her name is, for me not to Sandra Ray Chalfant. She's doing her homework. She went live, and she also inviting friends, because she knows that friends may benefit from this work, from this challenge that Katie is doing. So this is why Katie is going to have to give Sandra special prize. Katie, you can announce now what is that the prize that it's very special.
Yes, the very special prize is the Ancestry DNA kit. Remember, during the first day, I talked about it's important to know where you came from. So Sandra gets that Ancestry DNA kit, in addition to the prize she won yesterday. So that is for being a standout, going live, sharing your takeaways, and inviting guests. I believe it's important to reward those who do their homework. So continue to do your homework. And even though we're on our last day, we will have a bonus day. So you'll get an opportunity. Those of you who have not received a prize or have shared yet, you'll still get an opportunity to do that. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, and we had live Tracy Brown Loving yesterday as well. She was watching all session from the beginning till the end. Thank you, Tracy, for being here live with us. And we also can reward you.
Yes. Yes.
Go ahead, Katie.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Your reward, Tracy, will be a gift certificate or gift card, an Amazon gift card, which will come to you. All I need you to do is send me a direct message and let me know your address. I'll be happy to send it out. And thank you for staying in the challenge and listening to it and getting value from it, because it's important that you get value from it. I hope you all have been receiving value from the content that I've been providing.
So, Katie, your stages, go ahead and deliver the session that you already prepared for our friends, how to live the legacy.
All
Please.
right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate your support and that warm introduction. And thank you again, and congratulations to the winners who won the gift card and the Ancestry DNA kit. Now, just as a reminder or a recap of what we've gone through, some points that maybe just you may have missed, I just want to reinforce those. And also, I want to share why I started to do these challenges in the first place. I don't think I went enough into that from day one. But the reason I started to do these challenges, I've been very successful in real estate within the space, residential space, in my local market, but it's been here in my local market. And I heard about this gentleman named Pedro Adeo. And when I heard about him, I went to what's called the Wisdom Challenge. So I went to this Wisdom Challenge, which was online, and I learned that you can merge your business with kingdom principles. So that really struck a chord in me, and I decided to listen to more of what he was saying in a Wisdom Challenge. It was a free challenge. And then at the end of the challenge, there was an opportunity to go into acceleration, which he is doing a challenge now, which I've posted on this group, the Kingdom Finance Challenge. And coincidentally, the last 2 days, he's talked about real estate. After I listened to Pedro in the acceleration course, it's the 6-stake framework, I decided to go even further with him, because when you have a good mentor and they're providing things that you need to hear and you can invest in yourself, then it's something that will help you grow and develop your skill set. So I saw that as an opportunity to learn more marketing online to enhance my current business. And that is exactly what I am doing. I've figured out a way to take what I've learned through my business, as well as the School of Hard Knocks, some mistakes I've made, and some successes that I've made. I've made a lot of money in real estate, and I've made some mistakes in real estate. So I want to be able to bring the items of value to help you grow and learn that you can not only own real estate, you can invest in real estate, and you can leave a legacy. You can leave an inheritance for your children's children. So we talked about how do you own real estate? Some of you are already homeowners, some of you may not be. So owning real estate basically sounds simple. You can purchase real estate. There's so many different ways to purchase real estate. You can purchase the traditional, conventional way, or you can purchase the unconventional way. And in today's market, at least in the United States, we still have a pretty robust market where values are still going up. We are starting to see a lot of price reductions as well. I also talked about investing. It's so important to invest in real estate. I believe God wants us to take dominion. He said it in Genesis 1 when he created us, when he created the first man and woman. He said to go, take dominion, subdue the earth. How do you subdue the earth unless you take territory? How do you take territory unless you acquire real estate? The last I checked, they're not making any more land. So acquiring real estate is a fundamental principle, I believe, in the kingdom. And within investing in real estate, it's important to know what your motives are. Why do you want to acquire real estate? I told you the story yesterday about the man who invested and had all this wealth that he amassed and all these products, and he made this huge barn. And then he didn't have enough room. He tore that barn down and built another barn. And God called his soul home, wherever his home ended up being. He called him home because His heart was not for others. His heart was consume, consume, consume. So I do want you to receive what I'm saying in terms of consumption, but I want you, more importantly, to take application, because information without application is just information. And I've heard it said another way. I think it's information without revelation. I can't remember exactly. If somebody knows, you can say it in the chat. But basically, if you're just consuming, it's basically you're hoarding. You're hoarding. That's kind of what I would call it. You're hoarding that information. And it's important to share what you know, share your knowledge and skills. And within creating cultural legacy, it's about leaving an inheritance for our children's children. So that's where we're going to start today, leaving an inheritance for your children's children. So I'm going to share my screen with you on where we are starting today. It's very similar to where we left off yesterday. So I'll start right here. So we talked about owning, investing, and leaving it. And this particular Andrew Carnegie, this particular quote, I think, encapsulates what investing in real estate is about. It encapsulates what owning real estate is about. It encapsulates what leaving a legacy or leaving an inheritance for your children's children. Because 90% of all millionaires, that's all millionaires, they achieve that status by owning real estate. And that's those who may or may not have come into it through their family line. There are people, I think Rockefeller, there's some names that continue to pass on wealth from generation to generation. You can do that too. You can create your legacy. You can create wealth just like other millionaires through real estate, because 90% of them do. And why not be part of that 90%? That's a good number to be a part of. I like this little quote by this Tara Jackson. This says about the principle that I'm sharing today, that a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, and the wealth of the sinner is laid up for the just. So what I'm hearing from that second part of that particular scripture is that the wealthy people that acquire these masses of wealth that are maybe not in the kingdom, maybe they're sinners, as this is stated, then we can acquire that. So wouldn't that be nice if we could get the spoils from those corrupt people? That's the way I look at it. I would love to do that. But I want to share what the mission is. So the mission of your life and my life should be to leave the world better, leave better world behind than what you inherited. So when I think about that, I think about what am I'm going to stop sharing so I can see. How am I handling what I have, what God has given me? How am I handling? I stopped sharing, but I've lost my, let me get out of the slideshow so I can see you. Okay, there we go. How am I handling what God's given me? How am I being a good steward of what I've received? And when I think about legacy, I think about like the story that I told you about my father. Now you will have your own story. So think about, what do I want to leave behind? And I don't really like these sort of conversations. And I think I mentioned to you when my father, a couple of months before he passed, he started to have these conversations. And they felt uncomfortable for me, but I've learned that you have to have these conversations because our life is not going to be forever in these bodies. There will be an expiration point. And the question is, when you reach that expiration point, will you leave something of value for those you love and for those who are to come after you're gone. I think about who my grandsons will marry and who they will, their children that they'll have. Now they're my grandsons, but I still want to make sure that what I leave behind is better than how I found it. When I think about that, I also think about how I leave things, and I think about how my children and my grandchildren leave things. And the principle that I attempt to instill in them is that you need to leave it better than you found it. And this principle goes into when you acquire real estate. Like I've been telling my daughters, my middle daughter has purchased her first home, which was surprising to me because she's my middle daughter. I thought my eldest daughter would have purchased a home first, but it didn't matter. Really, it was just kind of a surprise. But my middle daughter purchased a home first. She purchased a home in Hopewell. And the way that she handles that property is so much better than how she handled my house. I don't know if any of you have experienced that, but she lives in this house that she takes immaculate care of. She has me take my shoes off. She has everything perfectly neat in the house and dishes washed and put away. Everything's perfect. But when she comes to my house, it's not quite the same. She just comes in and feels very much at my home, not at her home, because at her home, it's very, very put away. So she's learned to be a good steward of what she owns, right? But my home is not her home anymore. So she's not really being, caring for my things. So the principle I'm attempting to instill in her is that you treat other people's property better than you treat yours, or at least just as good, because it's not yours. It goes into the principle of being a good steward. And so those conversations that I recommend you have is, what are you planning to do with the property that you've acquired? And yesterday I also said to consult the king, right? So when you consult the king, he's going to let you know, okay, is this a wise investment? Am I using wisdom with this investment? Yes, the numbers pencil. Yes, everything looks good on paper, but is this a wise investment? And I can't answer that question for you. I can give you all the resources on where to find the properties. I can even give you resources on how to make the calculations. But at the end of the day, it is your decision, and you have to check your heart motive. Are you acquiring to be like the man who just created all of this just for himself? Or are you creating it for your family and your extended family, so that that property remains in the family name? And that is the whole intent behind this challenge, is to create a cultural legacy. You get to create, you get to own, you get to invest, and you get to leave it, because you can't take it with you. I remember watching a funeral of Aretha Franklin on television. And this is no jab at her. She was the queen of soul, for those of you who may not know Aretha Franklin. But she was in her casket with a big hat. Her legs were crossed and she had some high heel pumps on. They took the picture from behind. I guess they didn't want to, show, but she had this big floppy hat and this beautiful dress and these red pumps and all kinds of jewelry. And I was thinking, okay, that's nice, but she's not there anymore. And all of the stuff that she has on, if it's buried, it's not going with her. And so your motive behind what you're acquiring, whether it's real estate or it's other tangible assets, what's the motive behind it? Is it for yourself? And it's really okay to have things for yourself. Don't hear what I'm not saying. It's okay to have things for yourself. I'm just saying, when it gets to the point where you're amassing these large quantities of things, what do you do with it? I'm reminded of the principle of the sower. You may have heard that, and if you haven't, I'll just kind of share that with you. But the principle of the sower is this, and this goes into leaving a legacy. There was a manager, and he gave one of the workers one talent, and I believe a talent was like $10 or something like that, $100. He gave another one 5 talents, and he gave another one 10 talents. They went away, and the whole idea behind this was for them to go and invest, right? To create this business for themselves. And so at the end of the time, they all reported back, starting with the 10 talent person. He reported that he invested his 10 talents and he made 10 more. Great. He was rewarded with even more. The 5 talent person came back. He made an increase on what he had. So he was rewarded. He was given more. And then the last one, who had the 1 talent, said, "Oh, I knew you were a wicked taskmaster, so I took my talent and I went and hid it. So here's my 1 talent back." And he was chastised and ridiculed for that because he didn't invest. He was told, "Well, you could have at least put it in a bank and got me interest on that." So when I think about that, I think about, okay, what am I receiving? Am I making a return on my investments, or am I spending them all? If I spend them all, I really won't have anything to leave behind. When my father passed, he not only left me real estate, he left me a bank account with some money in it that was just the amount of money that I needed for my business. There was a period of time in my business where in real estate, there's ebbs and flows. So I had an ebb, if you will. I had a kind of low spot in my business, and I needed an infusion of some cash. After he passed and all things were settled, we went into the bank and we were transferring some accounts in my mother's name to take his name off, and discovered there was another account that just had my name on it and his name on it. And it was for the exact amount that I needed. I think it was $20,000. And it was just what I needed. And it was at that point that I realized, okay, God's looking out for me. You know, my Father in heaven is looking out for me because he knew exactly what I needed and he provided. And then with the properties that came after that, with my father transferring the properties into my name, and I'm given the pushback that I didn't want that, but that's exactly what I was created to do. I was created to create a culture of legacy because it was handed down through generation after generation. That's why I think it's so important to know where you came from. And if those roots aren't strong, if you're saying, hey, I look back and I really don't want to be a part of my history, then ask yourself why. Why do you not want to be a part of your history? And only you can answer that. And then you can decide to start from today. You can start that history from today. You can start acquiring, you can change it all now. There was another piece of leaving a legacy, that a conversation that I had with my father that had to do with leaving a will. We had many discussions about a will. I think a will is very important. If you do not have a will, I suggest you get one. I have one. It's outdated. I need to update it. Wills are important. If you remarry, or if you have more children, if you have grandchildren, every time there's an addition to the family, you need to make adjustments to the will. So those of you who already have wills, you might want to consider retweaking those wills, because when you're gone, you can't say, oh, I meant this, and people can't assume what you meant because that document's going to stand. So if you don't have a will, create a will. So those conversations that I would have with my father, and I say my father because my mother's still living, and my father handled all of the financial decisions. My mother would be the one who would handle the actual administrative piece, but my father would make the ultimate. He would go and seek and find the properties and things like that, but she would be the one who would sit down and write the checks out and pay the bills. But with the legacy that he left me, I understand now how important it is to prepare in advance, whether it's going to an attorney and having deeds drafted up, whether it's going to a title company and asking for a quitclaim deed to transfer the property that way, or if it's creating a family trust, which is ultimately a higher level way of leaving a family legacy. I say a higher level way because that way it cannot be changed. You can create the trust to where it has to be in that name and that property. It could be written in that trust that it must remain in the family. So if you have a family that you want to ensure that those assets get transferred from you to the next generation without missing a generation, you can put those in those documents. So there are documents that you can assure to leave a legacy. But I think what's key is knowing in advance what you want and sharing that information with your loved ones. Because if you don't share it, who's going to know what your intentions are? Now, writing a will would be that final step, but who wants to be surprised at the end of a life of a loved one to find out? I think there was a public case, if you've heard about Winona Ryder, I think is her name, very famous country singer who passed away, and her daughter, well, Winona might be the daughter, I may have said that wrong, but the daughters now are fighting over the inheritance that could have been avoided had a will been created, and maybe a will was created. And I believe that her husband, the deceased husband, by law gets to, within the absence of a will, he gets all of the assets. And if the family is not working together, if you will, if the family's not gelling, synced, and have the same understanding, and there's no legal document to say otherwise, then you're kind of screwed, for lack of better term. I think I mentioned to you also that my sister, and that was the day we started this challenge, her birthday on the 23rd, but she purchased property and she had the entities created. And that's another thing, creating entities for your properties. But she had LLCs made up in their name. And even upon her death, it went to her husband, who was still alive, which that part I understand. But upon his death, he created a will, and it negated what her wishes were. But she didn't have a will. Had she had a will, that could not have happened. Now, it could have transferred to the husband, and then upon his death, transferred to the children. But unless you have those provisions written up in a will, a deed, a contract, have an attorney, it is going to be the opposite of what you would have desired it to be. And if you're in a situation now where you don't have a will, you don't have a plan, let this be your wake-up call. Let this be your wake-up call. That if nothing else you gain from this, let this be your wake-up call. Let this be your wake-up call, because I want that to resonate with you. I want you to hear me, because I know I see people every day. I see people every day that are distraught because they've lost a loved one, and there was no will, there was no provision for the transfer of the property when they're either not married, or they don't have children, or they have children that are fighting about who gets it. Well, what happens in those cases? It goes to probate. Nobody wins in probate. Probate ends up eating up much of the asset. So when it's all said and done, I think this happened with Prince. I think they just settled his estate after 6 years. I think it's been 6 years since The Star. Those of you who may or may not know Prince, it was 6 years after his death. And I think he had like a $25 million estate. But you can imagine that the attorneys over 6 years have chewed away at a lot of his estate, so that there's probably not much left. And so I don't want that to happen to you. I want you to create that will. I want you to create those deeds. I want you to get life insurance. I want you to prepare for the inevitable. And it's not gloom and doom. I used to think that. I used to think, oh, this is such a heavy topic, but it's not. It's not a heavy topic because it's part of life. Part of life is we live and then we don't live here anymore. And what you have here is going to stay here. So why not have somebody who you love? And if you love your family and want your family to be a part of what you've created, why not pass it on to them? I mean, some people might decide that to pass it on to a nonprofit or something like that. That's your choice. If that's the legacy you want to leave behind for a foundation or a nonprofit or something like that, that's your choice. But here, I want you to understand that it's important that our next generation be prepared financially. I think it's kind of sad to see some of the children's children, some of my grandchildren. I think it's kind of sad to see that they don't really understand the all the work that went in to get what we have today. Just like I didn't understand all the work that went into what my parents had to do to get what they got. The whole notion of understanding what your ancestors went through, I think, is how you really start building that legacy, because you come from kings and queens. I mean, you come from wealth. I'm sure somewhere in your lineage there's some wealth there, and you might find it by tracing your genealogy. You never know. Like I said, I found out my mother was or is from sub-Sahara Africa as well as Ireland. And there was a couple of other places. And then my father, his family, most of them came from the East Coast as well as the South. He was from Mississippi, and they came across, and there's some history because we had a big family reunion in Mississippi many, many years ago where they had the maps of where our people came from in Africa. And they had, and at the time when they were showing me all this, I didn't have an appreciation for it, but now I do. I have a great appreciation for it because I understand now that it's important to know where you came from. It's important to know where you came from. If you don't know where you came from, it's really hard to know where you're going. So creating a cultural legacy is what it's about. And so if you've been receiving value from this challenge, I want you to put it in the chat, and I want to take you a little further because I've done this for 3 days. I've provided valuable content, and now I want to invite you to a workshop. And I want to share with you just what you will be receiving at that workshop. If I can get my shared screen to cooperate with me. I think this is it. I think this is it. Well, before I do that, no, I'll do this one. Okay, so the workshop. Am I sharing screens? I think I am. Okay. Oops, 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 oops. Okay, here we go. Creating Cultural Legacy Workshop. This workshop will be a 3-week workshop. And the workshop is going to, I'll break down some of the components of it, but the workshop is an opportunity to go deeper. So I've been talking about what cultural legacy is. I've talked about why it's important. I've talked about what you can do, but now during the workshop, I want to go into how. How do you find properties that are off market? How do you invest off market? How do you get loans that are not traditional? What are some, how can you actually take what you've learned and put it into action? So I'll go over some of the components of that. So the 3-week workshop, the value of the workshop is $9,995. The workshop will be within a live Facebook group. You'll get a Zoom link and we'll be in the room together. You'll have lifetime access to that group. I've already run one workshop and those people are already in the workshop. And the content for this next workshop will be built even stronger. I'll even have more subject matter experts come in, and the lifetime access, I think, will just help you get more information and grow in your knowledge in this leaving a legacy. So about owning real estate, investing in real estate, and leaving a legacy. You'll learn, oops, go back. My slides are moving too fast. Okay, so the next piece, hopefully my pop-ups aren't getting in the way because I keep seeing pop-ups. You'll learn your first and next buy strategies. So within the workshop, I'll actually talk and teach you how to get your first buy if you haven't ever bought a piece of property, as well as your next buy. And understanding that your first buy is your first investment property. So you want to retain. I've always been told from mentors as well as my father, never sell unless you have something that is upside down, meaning you're feeding it too much, it doesn't cash flow for you, or it's an albatross, it's a burden to you. Don't sell. Retain your assets, because we went through, here's a little offshoot. I went through this story with my father about selling these properties. I said, why are you holding on to these properties? Why don't you sell them? You can make so much money. My father, even though he graduated from high school, he really only had like a fourth to fifth grade education. My mother, who had an 8th grade education, was the one who really helped my father graduate from high school, because she understood, she could read and all this. He was not such a good reader at all. She would read for him. So he gave me this example. He said, take this property here. He said, I could sell it for, at the time he said, I could sell it for 80,000 or 60,000. That's just an example. He said, and I would be done. Or I could keep the property, I could collect rent every month and make back that 60 or 80,000 in 3 years and have a tax write-off. And what is it? He said, and I could write off expenses, I could write off the taxes, and the property will be worth more in the future as I increase rents. So he taught me that principle about keeping your assets, keeping the real estate and not selling them. So that's why I say your first purchase, your first buy is going to be your first investment. If you decide to create that cultural legacy, that's your choice. I hope you decide to do that. I hope you catch that vision, because it's a vision that I have for myself, and I want to impart that on you, because I want you to capture that vision, because you want to leave something. I mean, you are going to leave something, whether you want to or not. You're going to leave something. The question is, who's going to receive it? So hopefully it's someone in your family. So the next part will be the first or next investment strategy. So maybe you already have an investment property and you want to know, okay, how can I get another investment property? So we'll talk about all the different ways that we can do that. Then we'll have a section on mindset coaching. It's important to have the right mindset to go into investing, to go into leaving that legacy, to understand, okay, what is this about? Is it about just me and my dominion, or is it about me and my family and generations to come? And then we'll have a one-on-one clarity call, 30-minute clarity call. That's where it's just you and me talking. Whatever your particular scenario is, I'll help you break through whatever it is you need to resource it out to get to the solution you need. So that is that 3-week workshop, and we'll be meeting twice a week. The first time I had it, we did it on one Saturday, but I'm going to have it on one weekday and one Saturday for a 90-minute session. So we'll have 2 sessions. Okay, and the next, if I can get my thing to act right, let's see if it'll advance for me. There we go. Okay, bonuses. Okay, bonuses, you'll get 2 backstage VIP passes. What that means is if you're married, if you have a spouse, your spouse can also come into the workshop. So that's an addition, that's probably valued more than I have here, but they get to be a participant in the workshop. And then I'll also extend that to businesses. If you are in a business and you want your business partner to come, you just show me that you are definitely in this LLC. Maybe you have an investment partner that you're with and you want them to come along, then they get to be a part of it too. And then the giveaway that I gave today, the Ancestry DNA search, or the kit, actually, it's the kit. You get the kit as well. So you'll get that. And with that, I used that and I was able to trace back, as I said, to my, on my mother's side, I was able to see my great grandfather and found out many of them served in World War I. So there's so much rich history that you can learn by just doing that Ancestry DNA, because when you're doing it, there's other people all over the world that might be related to you that are doing it as well. And that information gets connected and resourced, and then you click, it gives you options. You can say, search by this name. These names will come up, the birth locations will come up, even the marriages, the death certificates, the grave sites, all of that comes up. It's phenomenal what information you can get from these searches. You'll get a swag toolkit. I'll send you some goodies to your home just to thank you for being a part of the workshop. And then we'll have a session on title, escrow, and recording. What's that? When you get property, you need to do those title searches. You need to understand how to do that, who to ask for that, what's the resources, and then escrow, the people that close. In some states, they use attorneys, but in Washington State, we use escrow officers. So if you use attorneys, we can kind of talk about that as well, because I might actually have an attorney that comes as well, and recordings. So talk about how you need to assure that things are recorded, right? When you do these, when you do these quitclaim deeds or whatever documents that you use, you need to make sure that they're recorded in the county of record. And then the last bonus is entities and more. So I'll have my CPA, he's actually an attorney, come on and he'll explain what is the difference between an LLC and a S Corp and a C Corp. And, is it important to get an umbrella policy to cover all of these entities? All of that will be included as a bonus for this particular workshop. And let's see what's next. So the value of that is almost $12,000. It's $11,195, but the cost to you today, and I'll hold that cost until Saturday night, because Saturday night is the the Kingdom Finance Challenge, and it ends Saturday. So I want to make sure if you're part of that, you kind of get more fuel about real estate and about Kingdom Finance. That was so important. Or you can do a 3-payment option for $395. So that is a massive value, massive content. I'll have experts come in. We'll be in the Zoom room and you'll be able to do these things yourself, right? The workshop is for you to actually do the work. You get the information, excuse me, to do the work. So there'll be a 3-payment option, excuse me. Ooh. That's what happens when you talk a lot. So there'll be a 3-payment option as well. In case you're wondering, to the right, I think I showed this in the previous one, but top right, that's our first house. The middle is my mother and father in the kitchen of their last house. And at the bottom is 4 generations. It is my father and my grandson, my first grandson. So this was my father's opportunity to hold his grandson. And he did not like holding babies. That's why he's looking like, what do I do with this? So, excuse me. So that's 4 generations creating cultural legacy. This grandson will be able to, I'm helping his mother, in fact, purchase a property. That's my youngest daughter. She asked me just the other day, she says, Mom, can you help me find a house to rent? I said, that's what she said. Can you help me find a house to rent? I said, I can help you buy a house. She said, oh, okay. Okay. So we're going to talk budget and all that, but she's ready. She's ready. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing so I can see what time it is and if there's any questions. Let's see if I can close this out because it's hard to see everything when I have so many windows open. See if there's any questions and what time. Okay, I'm doing really good on time. And so for this workshop, I'm excited to bring this workshop for the second time. The first time I held this workshop, it was 3 hours on a Saturday, and everybody stayed the full time. They were committed. This time I want to break it up to 90-minute sessions because I have some experts that will be coming in during the week for those special bonus sessions that I can give the content. So I'm really excited about that. And if you are interested in that, I will post the links to your message. Well, actually, I'll post it inside this Facebook group. So you'll be able to see that again. I'll post some of those slides so you'll see in case you don't remember what those contents were. So are there any questions that, and I know a lot of people are going to watch this in a replay, so hello replay. So I just want to see if there's anyone watching live that might have questions on this. And remember to, I don't see questions, I keep seeing my pop-ups come up. So remember, you get to win prizes if you share the Facebook group. You win prizes if you go live in the Facebook group. And today, I do want to offer one fast action bonus. Since today is Thursday, I'll wait till tomorrow. I'll wait till tomorrow on that. So I will bring Miss Nadia back on and see if you have any feedback for me today.
What a session. My mind blown. How to leave the legacy. This is very important, guys. And Katie went step by step and show you what to do and how to do. Through her mistakes that she made. Yes, I know. I know all of us were making mistakes, but we are also learning from mistakes. And what Katie is emphasized that do not make these mistakes when you know that your children's children are there and you are a very important person in their life, that you can live whatever you can for them, for their children as well, because this is a life. Who knows? No one promised us that we will wake up tomorrow. What if you will do everything you're supposed to do today? As I said in the beginning, everybody is starting some new opportunity, new challenge, new diet. It is good to start, but how many of you are finishing this cycle of diet or your course that you purchased and didn't finish it? Just be the person that you created to become and be the way that God created us. Do what you have to do. As Katie said, that you have opportunity to participate in 3 weeks challenge workshop. I did all of this last time when she ran this workshop. It was very interesting. Lots of people that I learned from them. She invited guests, and they shared their experience. And do you know what? This knowledge is already, people gain from this knowledge and they used it. So what is holding you back to participate in this workshop and find out how you can do better than maybe your parents didn't do for you, but you have this opportunity now. And Katie will post the link later. Just click on it, and payment for $3.95 is just several times for you not to go to Starbucks or buy another pair of shoes, but you know that this is value information that you can use and reuse, and your children will say thank you later. So thank you so much, Katie, for being here for us and sharing your heart, sharing your knowledge and expertise. And I know that people are looking for this information. And whoever share this information, bring your friends. Do you know that without friends, we are we have to have some accountability partner,
Right.
as we partner with Katie as well. So we're helping each other. Why not? This is that when you have friends, it's much fun to have together and be on the same page. Let's do it.
Yes.
Who's
Yes.
ready?
Yes. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Great, 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 great. So I would like to see you on the workshop. When is the workshop? Next week, yes?
It's the first Saturday of September.
Okay, so it will be the 3rd of September.
Yes, yes, that will be the start date. So I'll put the details in the Facebook group, but just wanted to encourage each and every one of you to take advantage of investing in yourself. This is not just in yourself, it's actually in your family and your heritage, your legacy, your children's children. They're counting on you, and you get to mentor them. You get to teach them. You get to show them that grandma knows how to buy real estate. Grandma knows how to help her children invest in real estate. Grandma is leaving an inheritance for the children's children, right?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I'm excited. I'm excited. And I'm probably going to hold just a brief bonus session tomorrow because I have a special guest. My twins, the twins that I talked about in my story, I am hoping to get them to come on live tomorrow at this time so that you can see the fruit of this challenge. You can see in real time. If I could get my brother, I would too, but he works at Amazon and they don't really, he works full-time at Amazon. I am going to get one of them. I don't know if both of them can come, but if they can both come, I will have them on tomorrow as a bonus session just to kind of show you what the fruit is of this. It's real. This is real life. So I'm excited.
Wow.
Yeah,
this will be so interesting.
Yeah.
So guys, don't miss tomorrow and share this page and invite friends as well tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Thank you, Katie.
All right. You're welcome. Thank
night.
you. This completes day 3 of creating cultural legacy. So I will see you tomorrow on the bonus. I'll see you after this call on my 30 days live, day number 25, because I'm still doing that too. And I wish you peace, love, and soul.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Bye-bye.